Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Sisters Podcast. This is Gabrielle Celeste. Welcome, welcome. You guys, super excited about this episode with our special guest, Rachel White. She is a trained shaman, medium, meditation coach, spiritual transformation coach, energy work practitioner, feng shui practitioner, and flower essence maker. She owns TOTEM Readings, an Austin, Texas-based spiritual practice that serves thousands of clients all over the world. She is the published author of the TOTEM Tarot Deck, the TOTEM Flower Essence Deck, and her new book, which we will be discussing today, The Business of Woo, Thriving in Your Psychic Business Without Losing Your Mind or Selling Your Soul. And just a little tidbit, guys, it is really good. I've read it and I can't wait to dive into it. Rachel is also the host of the Skeptical Shaman podcast and the author of the TOTEM Reading Substack publication, bringing a modern dialogue of all things woo to the spiritually curious. She provides one-to-one sessions and tailored long-term spiritual transformation coaching and Business of Woo mentoring services to clients all around the world. Prior to navigating to the Business of Woo on a full-time basis, Rachel spent almost 2 decades working in corporate America, occupying high-level roles such as Head of Knowledge and Innovation and Senior Vice President of Global Strategy for global publicly traded corporate real estate and consulting companies. Rachel, welcome to the show. So excited to have you.
Man, when you read that's my short form bio, and it makes me sound old and tired.
No. Can I just say so one of the things I appreciate the most about you, and maybe we can share a little bit about like how we met personally and have gotten to know each other over the last few months, but like your sense of humor, your rawness, your realness, like it's such a breath of fresh air in this space. And I really appreciate it. And I believe you're also a fellow Cancer sun, right?
I am. Yeah. And I have a lot of Mercury in my chart. Like I'm Virgo rising. I believe that my Gemini, something about Mars and Gemini. You can tell I'm not a Western astrologer. It's the one thing not in the bio. You see that right away. But it's funny, my friend Sam, who's an astrologer, he's like, this is why you like getting into an argument with you is slightly problematic. You better make sure you really want to win with Rachel. He's like, other people don't do it the way you do it. I'm like, I'm in it for the love of the game.
Oh,
like,
man. Yeah. You can tell too, like and I mean, I read your book. It's one of those books that one doesn't exist on the market, can only have been written from, it's true. You're so welcome. Could only have been written from a place of experience that really comes forth. I wanted to know where your Mercury's at in your chart because you are a phenomenal writer, and the humor, the levity, the calling people out too, which I'm like, oh, she's had some
shit.
Yeah, and you're not afraid to, and because you can back it up. It really feels like the book fills a space, a void, an opening that didn't exist in the market prior to your book literally coming out. So I can't wait to get into it. We like to ask, like to ask like a rapid fire set of questions. Okay. So what is your big 3 in astrology?
Sun Cancer, rising Virgo, moon Aquarius.
Oh, okay. That
Aquarius moon explains a lot of the weird of me, the weird in me, without me, throughout me. Yeah.
Where's your Mercury at?
I'd have to open my chart, but it's Virgo rising is ruled by Mercury, but it's also, I think, in Mars.
Conjunct Mars, maybe?
Maybe. And in a couple of other places.
Interesting. Okay.
So my friend Sam goes, I'm sick of you telling people you're a Cancer, you're a Gemini, because he's a Gemini, and he's like, you have to start identifying properly. Are
you on the cusp? Like, can I ask your birthday?
Oh, yeah, I'm an early Cancer. I'm the 27th, so not truly cuspy, but I was late. And my 2 siblings younger than me in order are both Geminis.
So June Cancers are different than July Cancers. Fellow June Cancer, can relate. So I love this.
Yeah, we're a little different. I sent a meme about that to my friend Mark Vicente, who is the host of the What the Fuck is on My Mind podcast. He was in Nexium, and he just made a movie called The Narcissist Handbook or something. It's fantastic because he survived Nexium basically, and he and I send each other early Cancer memes where it's like, we're not the ones.
Not the ones. That's so true.
It's a slow burn, but once you start with us, you better be willing to finish. Because he's still emancipating people from cults and things like that. He's still on a tear.
Yeah. I bet. Okay, so what's your human design makeup?
manifesting generator. I believe that's the right one. Mm-hmm. And I think Enneagram, people help me with these things. I have helpers. I sound like someone who's in like a facility. I'm like, well, the Wednesday lady helps me with my human design. Mm-hmm. And my Enneagram is opportunistic hermit.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Except that I don't I'm not like a people person naturally.
Even with the Aquarius moon. Interesting.
Yeah, I like individuals, social events and things like that. I'm not like, if you find me, you come across me, great. If we meet each other, awesome. I'm not going to look for it necessarily. Mm-hmm. Okay. Real tough to have that energy and be in this business, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. So what podcasts, magazines, movies, what are you consuming? What books are you reading besides, of course, maybe your own rereading for all the things? I don't know.
No, God, I'll go a decade without rereading that. You know, I don't know if you've written a book. When you're editing it, you're like, this is hell. I did this to myself. And my really good friend, Amy, who owns Puck Hockey, we did the merch collab together, this t-shirt based on the tarot deck. She went through it for me, broad brushstrokes, looking for repetitive phrases and things like that. She's like, I love you, but I hate you for writing this book. And she insisted on doing that. She was excited about it. Once you get in it, you're like, nope, never again. Not today, Satan. But I would say, so my favorite podcast lately, this is a real out of left field one, is Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Okay. Shane Gillis, Matt McCusker, very funny comedians. They live here in Austin now, because it's not about anything from my world. It's utterly different. Like, they'll talk about random trends on TikTok, but from like kind of like an old man perspective. It's very funny, and shows I am deep in the new Daredevil, the rebooted Daredevil. Okay. I'm kind of like a 10-year-old boy in my tastes. Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard of them.
I don't consume a lot of woo content. Like, if I meet someone, like I met you on Skeptic Metaphysicians, I'll listen a bit here and there, but I can't do it on a daily basis. I think because it's beyond an 8-hour workday already. Yeah. And you'll hear things, you're like, I got to get away from it. I got to like read a fishing magazine or something. You know what I mean? Like the dog breeds or I don't know, stuff that's totally outside of this.
Yeah. I can relate to that. You need something to just like bring you back down to the 3D and planet Earth, and just a break from like the work itself. So I feel you for sure. Okay. So if you could work with anyone that is still with us or has passed on, who would it be and why? And it would be in the context of your business.
100% David Lynch.
Okay. Say more.
Oh my God. Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet. He was deep into transcendental meditation, and I'm not, but I do shamanic journey meditation. And he wrote a book that I used a lot with my team in corporate when I was doing innovation work, called Catching the Big Fish. And it's a bit about how if you want to catch the big ideas, you catch them, you don't make them. And so if you want to go get the big ones, you got to go where the big fish go, which are the deeper waters. And this way of like, almost looking for synchronicities and things like that. And also I love the way he did interviews. He was rude to people, but not in like a nasty way. They'd be like, so what do you think about God? And he goes, I think God's gay. And they're like, expound on that. And he's like, no. Like, he was just very creative and irreverent. And he was a sort of a religious zealot about cultivating free time. And like not doing stuff all the time. And that's something I really struggle with. I could use some of him in my life. And the other person I could probably use some of in my life is Rick Rubin, who wrote The Creative Act, and whose music that he produced is just absolutely like the best of the Beastie Boys, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Johnny Cash's Black album. I mean, masterpieces. And that book, to me, read like it might as well have been about psychic work or spiritual work, even though it's about creative work. And I just love his whole Kabbalah thing. His podcast is called Tetragramma, which is the Kabbalah term for the 4-lettered name of God, the ineffable name of God. So I got my eye on him. He's cooking.
Okay, so 2 things. Rick Rubin, didn't know that he was a musician. And also Johnny Cash, he lived around like basically up the hill from where we're at. So very amazing. Spiritual like place as well.
Singular talent. And that album, I mean, singing like 9 Inch Nails songs and stuff, it's so good, man. I'm not a country music person, and I was like, I'll jam to this all day.
And you moved basically to said country, right?
the country, the live music capital of the world. It's very dominated by country, blues. I mean, there's more like hardcore and heavy metal now here in Austin too. But yeah, it's fun. I like that culture. Everyone's really nice. I'll take it.
Okay, so that's the next question that we have is if you could attend a concert for any artist living or past, who would it be and why?
This one's going to bum my husband out. This is our one point of disagreement where he's like, I just don't get it. I'm like, it's because you're a boy. Tori Amos. I never got to see her live.
Okay.
She can play the harpsichord and the piano at the same time with two different hands.
Wow. Okay.
I just think seeing that would be like amazing.
And what would his answer be?
Oh God, not Tori Amos. For anyone but Tori Amos. You know, he wasn't a 90s girl, man. He didn't grow up with like Hole and Ani DeFranco and Tori Amos and PJ Harvey like I did. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. I have been introduced to new names as well in this process, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Tori Amos, it was like a musical savant as a child, grew up in a very destructive cult. Very cool. The one thing you should look for on YouTube, she did MTV Unplugged, and you could see her play two pianos at the same time and stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. This is a second like reference of cult that you've mentioned. I was like, do you know a lot of people in cults? Like, are you attracted to cults? Like, what is? Well,
I despise them. I think people who go through hard childhood stuff, whether it's a cult or abuse or whatever, I think they have it makes you more intense. Like I had a very, very volatile childhood. And I think it's one of the things that kind of, quote, made me psychic because I needed to sort of sense the air. There was a tremendous amount of volatility. Like it could change on a dime and it was pretty performative and at times very like violent and embarrassing, right? Like, you know, a dad that would just pop off at the movie theater around like your friends or shit like that. And so you learn, there's a great Japanese word and I always forget it, but for sensing the air, like feeling slight vibrational changes. And I think I developed that and honed it early. And I know a lot of healers, energy workers, astrologers who had like my childhood looks like Disneyland. And I think it's true for people that are kind of singular, visionary, innovative talents creatively as well, where they have like a story. And some of them talk about it and some of them don't. And I think, you know, for instance, Mark and Bonnie, who've moved to Austin, and we actually met in person for Friendsgiving when my brain was still filled with mold, which was very funny. I was like, welcome. I just admire people that had that experience and they're never going to go back and they want to talk to people about discernment, intuition. Like they kind of pivot their lives to empower people. And I'll tell you, in real life, they put up with zero bullshit. Because they got their fill. And so those are the people I like being around because there's no pretense. There's like no artifice to them at all. Yeah.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about your childhood, and I agree. Like that, I think people in this work do have really tend to have really tough childhood traumas, and I mean we're perfectly positioned for this type of work, right? But it's interesting too because you're the first shaman we've had on the podcast, and so before we get into your phenomenal book, I wanted to ask, like, what is a shaman exactly, and how did you get into this work and become one?
Yeah, I didn't know what a shaman was growing up, even though I am significantly Native American. And it's one of those things people don't like talking about is most people that are part Native American did not grow up on a res. You know, there was like a real genocide of a lot of the tribes, like diaspora, dispersion, and a kind of an eradication of the culture. So I was raised with the dominant culture in my family. My mom's side of the family, Irish Catholic, and went to Catholic school and all that. So as I started to have I was psychic and had a number of experiences as a child, but sort of like therapized those away. I was like, well, it's because, you know, I was responding to my environment, became intensely atheistic and secular. And then in my early 20s, I wasn't reading tarot, wasn't doing any of it. You know, I did that childhood, high school, had a series of encounters and I was like, what is this? And got into researching, working with people, being a mentee of other people in Chicago. And I realized like everybody who sort of knew what they were talking about, they're like, you're a shaman. And I was like, we'll see. I don't really know about that. And as I got into the work, I was like, that is what I'm doing. And so to answer your question, the word shaman, by the way, is not an American, Native American term. People get it twisted. It's actually Germanic Russian. And it has two possible roots. I actually have a whole description in the book about it. But effectively, shamans are inherently more liminal, like physically, energetically, and cognitively liminal.
Okay.
So what we perceive as reality is maybe not what other people perceive it as. And we can shift energy with matter and shift matter with energy. So there's a lot of transmutation that happens rather accidentally, which is why I think shamanic practitioners, when we get got either by, an energy vampire, just overwork, or we're not taking care of hygiene or whatever, we get sick. Mm-hmm. It tends to manifest physically, whereas someone who's more clear empathic, they kind of have a panic attack or feel depressed or sad. Mm-hmm. Like our shit hits us physically, mm-hmm. and vice versa. And there's a lot of moving and dealing and communicating with entities. There's a more animistic view of the world, like the trees have names. Mm-hmm. Spirits come and talk to us, mm-hmm. in whatever way they do. And I think the primary mission of a shaman is to really get individuals to question the nature of their reality. Yeah. Like the Australian Aboriginal culture, they call waking reality dream time. Mm. And they say when you're asleep dreaming, that's reality. Like this sense of what is this and how can we challenge it in a way that serves us? How do we get out of the rules that, like who made these rules and are they benefiting me? And it's very anti-hierarchy, by the way. It's not anarchistic, but it's like about democratizing things. Everybody's experience within shamanism is going to be unique to them, and it's all gravy. Like it's the opposite of organized religion.
So okay, there's a lot there, and there's a lot of different ways that we could take it. But in your process, having done this for as long as you have, and you can tell too with the way that your book is written, I was like, okay, someone with experience, like certainly wrote this. The terms that you use, it honestly felt like I was back in business school, but it was like business school for a psychic. And it really feels, and I'm not just saying this, like if you are an intuitive in this work professionally, this book would really serve you well, because I haven't come across a book that exists. And I feel like
you're saying that.
I genuinely mean that. And you're welcome.
It was kind of hard to write because I wanted it to do that. So that makes me really happy that it kind of fit that mold of, because frankly, as a writer, it's a little boring to write about stuff that you just do. Mm-hmm. So to slow it down and go, how would I explain this to someone who'd never encountered it before? Mm-hmm. It was kind of an ambitious project in that sense of like bringing it all the way back to the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like if you were talking to someone on the street, how would you describe it? So for me, with all that Gemini, I like to go like yada, yada, yada over things. Mm-hmm. And it forced me to slow down. So that makes me happy that it did that. My friend Megan sent me a text. She goes, it reads like a GED or an MBA hybrid. And I was like, thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that, it feels like, especially in this work, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce. And this just felt like very tangible, tactile, just approaches, strategies, honestly, in like very digestible forms that you could really apply if you were
I want to write like a self-help book about like, mindset, because that exists. And I'm like, well, everybody's doing mindset shit and it's not working.
Yeah.
At least not tangibly the way they're like, my perspective is good. This is good. That's good. But where are the clients, or why isn't this working? And it's like, that someone needs to do that.
Yeah. And I think you did that so well. And I would love to know, like, okay, like what's the follow-up? Like, is there a follow-up book to this? But before I even go there, that's why I also asked where your Mercury was at, because I was like, she writes very well. And I was like, this seems like past experience in corporate, and also like, where's your Mercury? But also, what practices keep you grounded doing this type of work? Because it is challenging to be up in the ethers and then to come back and then be in the 3D. And your consciousness is up and down throughout the entire day when you're doing this professionally.
It is. It's funny, in the book, I write about a thing I do, and I call it feng shui your day, right? Mm-hmm. And I did this in corporate without having a name for it or being aware of it. Because I think that it's not just I think, they've studied, use different parts of your brain for different tasks, different hemispheres, frontal cortex, amygdala, da-da-da-da-da. You'll see energy move around depending on what you're doing. So channeling work, tarot reading, shamanic work, energy work, totally different brain state than doing a podcast like what we're doing now, writing, working on taxes or something. So I try to group like tasks, and I used to have to write a lot in corporate. So I learned to do this. Like you can't break your day up with meetings. If you also have a focus task, like a concentration task to get done. It's easier to do all my psychic work squished together back to back, set it up in little tranches, and then set time aside for admin work, concentration work, all other things. So I booked, I blocked days of my week off every week when I was writing the book. And I treated it like I'm going to see a client. I treated it like client work. Because otherwise the pivoting back and forth is a goddamn nightmare. I just feel it's like you get the bends from scuba diving. I think you can get the bends from going in and out of like a liminal theta wave state with a client. And then someone like asks you like, when did you write this book? Why'd you write this book? And you're like, oh my God, I'm nonverbal right now. Sometimes if I do, 3 or 4 client sessions and they're pretty woo, afterwards, it takes me like 30 minutes to kind of become a person again. Because, to channel, you have to receive stuff. You empty a little piece of yourself out. Yeah. And so I'm not fully online as Rachel, the personality. I'm like in between thing. So that's a big one, is just grouping like tasks so you can be efficient, so you're not straining your psychic or physical gears. And also I've been going through, actually I have to tell you, I got so much better physically, medically this week. I had a huge breakthrough. It was wild. It was like gears snapping back into place. But I've been really sick from toxic mold exposure since last year. And we have a legal situation that I can't get into, except I can say I'm in it. And I'll tell you, that throwing in the background while you're holding space for other people, while you're writing a book, while you're trying to focus on like the day-to-day, meanwhile, there's this big hanging open item, right? I think it taught me a deeper lesson in personal discipline. And also shamans are very good at going, listen, can I swear on here? Like really swear? Yeah. Okay. Fuck it. Like you're going to be dead one day. Fuck it. You only have one round right now. Like this is the one you're in. And it's like, go big, make no small plans, and really aligning with yourself at a soul level instead of getting worried, to your point, in the minutia of it. Like, this week with just everything going on and paying lawyers, I'm like, my credit score is going to go down. And I have a video game brain about my credit score. It used to be in the 800s until I paid off my student loans.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
They dropped it 38 points when I paid that off. I couldn't. Yeah. So that's a cool system, but I'm sometimes precious about things that don't matter, that are just functional things that you like. I just care about them. I like seeing a number go up. It's probably part of what drove me in corporate or something, and just letting that shit go and being like, dude, it's going to be over one way or the other and we're going to be fine. And like, why am I worried about something that's a made up construct instead of what's in front of me? And so this experience the last 10 months, I think, has deepened my well of those resources. And I joke, like, maybe after this, I'll be kind of like mentally, psychologically unkillable for a while, because this was a wild one.
Yeah, there's a lot there. And it's so true. It's almost kind of like, especially when you're like doing shadow work, this is like the example that I can relate it to. It's like you're in your shit, you're not well, but when does that work ever not pay off? And also it always works out. Like when you're in it, don't tell someone that, but it does always work out. And your perspective, your awareness, your consciousness, all of it just really expands for the better. So, I mean, I'm gonna
and remembering that, like, anything that doesn't take your life from you, like all defeat until death is psychological. And that's harder to live than it is to say, but it doesn't make it any less true. Yeah.
So, okay, with that all being said, what drove you to, create this book? Where did the idea come from? Did it plop into your consciousness, your crown chakra? Like, tell us the deets.
I when people say, like, I made this for you with love, like this dish or whatever, like I made this with like anger. This book, that's what really sparked it. So I do a lot of what I call, jokingly but not jokingly, business of woo mentoring work with people. I really try and help them. We launch brands and businesses, and I just basically like open source whatever I do, whatever I've learned anywhere, whether it was with Totem or when I was in corporate. And what I realized was people get overwhelmed by conflicting messages, primarily on social media. And they also don't see anybody answering the real questions or asking kind of, quote, the dumb questions. Nobody wants to sound dumb. And a lot of, quote, coaches, right, personal development, life, whatever, they don't want you to see how the sausage gets made, or they don't want you to see them when they're vulnerable or when they're scared or they're in scarcity or things aren't perfect, because they think no one's going to want to work with them.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm incapable of doing that. Like, I actually have like social problems. And so whatever's going on with me is what it's going to be. And I started to get angry on behalf of clients who came to me and they would say, well, I worked with a coach and I like light my abundance candle and I did a vision board. And I was like, do you have a website? And they'd be like, no. And I'm like, oh my God. And I would hear how much money they paid people for this. It's not that it's nonsense, but it's certainly not going to help someone launch a business. And also just all these, I'm sure you've encountered them, these sort of cottage industry people, these consultants in the space who are like, I want to work with you. And just the weird parasocial, parasitic stuff in the woo soup. I worked in corporate real estate and consulting, and I can tell you there are more creeps and grifters in the business of woo than there are there. And that should really shock people, and it should put them on notice to be discerning, ask questions. If someone's selling you something and you don't understand what the hell it is, because they're using all these terms and words and it's confusing, and you go, oh, well, maybe it's because I'm dumb. I promise you're not dumb. Ask dumb questions. Force them to tell you what the value proposition is and what you're going to get for your money. Like, just basic stuff. And I think everyone's been really disempowered and kind of regressed.
Yeah. And
their brain's been filled with these words. Like, I hear words like container and cohort, and I know they mean things, but I have people saying it to me and they don't know what the word profit means. Like, that's crazy.
Well, that's actually something else that you think, and I study you, I watch you, I read your book, and there's a piece.
I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you, though. You're like, it's weird. I've like picked up like really heavy drinking habits. Well, same time frame too.
Well, something that you capitalize on and this is an angle of the book, and I feel like I really sense this within your business, is the ethical part of it, where like everything you just spoke to, it's like there are so many grifters that literally just come into this work because they see that there's money to be made, and then they bounce out once they realize like, oh, like fuck, like I'm being caught, So
also, they don't always mean to be a grifter. Some of them are very well intentioned, but they don't know what they're talking about.
Same one.
And they don't take that responsibility seriously. So people who are like, all right, I launched my business, but they don't have a success story yet. Like, they haven't been through peaks and valleys year over year. Maybe they haven't even done client facing work, like astrology readings, tarot readings, where you kind of get the hand feel for like, oh, this is important work.
Yeah,
actually. And people take this stuff seriously. It can have a really positive or a really negative impact. And I have a big ethical, I have to be really accountable and really present here. And they'll just go off like, I'm going to help people launch their businesses. And they don't know what they're talking about. And I think they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And I've seen these people, a lot of them are like mindset coaches, right? Or teaching you how to be you, how to embody you. And they want people to pay them a huge amount of money, way more than me. And I go, well, but and they're doing it sort of more in a work context or business context. I go, did you ever work in HR, organizational design? Do you have a degree in psychology or like systems, human systems, anthropology? Have you managed large teams of people? Have you been in charge of a budget? Have you had to fire somebody? Have you had to onboard somebody? Like, and there's no there. And yet they're suddenly, in their own mind, the expert because they want to help people. Like, it doesn't always come from a bad place, but good intentions are not enough.
Yeah.
You actually have to get objective about yourself and whether you have something to add. Like, I thought all the stuff I learned in corporate, everybody knew, for real. And so when I started to notice that not everybody had those conversations or were in those meetings or trainings or whatever it is, I went, oh, that's interesting. I have like an inverse posture to the market from those other people that are like, I'm going to tell you how to run your life. It's like, but what have you done?
And you literally put that in your book. Like, you didn't gatekeep.
Yeah.
Like, you literally gave like strategies, principles, case studies, examples, hands-on experiences to really support a spiritual practitioner that is interested in starting and running this business. And so I guess my next question would be what advice would you give to someone starting a spiritual business who wants to stay honest, but also survive financially, besides, of course, picking up your book?
Yeah. I would say get ready to do a lot of client facing work, and it's good for you. So have you noticed people try and skip over that? They're like, no, I'm going to do a retreat, or I'm going to get a brand deal, or the client facing work especially a lower price. Like I have a pricing section in here and it's like grow mode, right? Where your price is low enough that like people have no reason not to work with you. You're building your client list, you're getting referrals, you're getting Yelp and Google reviews, you're building eminence in the marketplace, right? You're in grow mode. That's not just about building all those things out and making money and being known. It's for you. It's like paid practice. It's a paid internship in your own business. It is what gives you all of the skills that will set you apart from everybody else who just got an Oracle deck on Amazon or from a friend for their birthday party. Like that is the differentiator, is how many reps have they put in and how do they know how to read these things and also be with a human being and give them useful, actionable information, not just go like, you have this aura and it's like yellow and it's kind of blue. And it's like, cool. What does that mean? I'm looking for a job right now, or I'm going through a breakup, or I have a custody battle. My dog's sick. Like this is it gets very real very quickly. And I just think, you're not outsmarting the system by skipping that. You're actually cheating yourself out of a huge learning and development opportunity. And you're going to be really grateful you did it. Everyone I talk to, like Teresa Reed, the tarot lady, she used to read cards at a bar in Milwaukee. My friend Bobby used to read them in the French Quarter. I read them in my apartment in Chicago every weekend. I've been doing this for 16 years, 6 of which is full time. But every Saturday for those prior 10 years, people were coming to my space. And then Sundays I would teach meditation workshops at yoga studios. I didn't like spending my weekend the way everybody else did. I wanted to do this stuff. And I think that shows, and there's just there's no rushing that. There's no like cheat code or hack for that. Don't you think?
I've talked plenty of shit on this podcast of 2025 was really tough for me. And I think my eyes were really just
not my favorite year.
It was not it was not. It feels like that's like the consensus. I think I know maybe 2 people that had a really phenomenal 2025, but yeah, I do think that there's a lot of grifters in this space. And it's interesting because one of the things I really capitalize on, and this is my double Pisces, I have like 7 placements in water in my birth chart. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot, where people are like, they at least when you get into this world, right? This has been my experience. And I think I can speak for a good couple of girlfriends that had a similar experience, where you get into it and shadow work isn't promoted. It's like love and light and la la la. And it's like, well, then your shadow work eventually catches up to you because you can't negate that. And so that's been my experience in this space. And it's, I think it's just really frustrating to just kind of see people taking advantage of and here just for the money. And I think that kind of leads me to my next question is, what's one idea in your book that might challenge or even upset people in our field?
The debunking of the myth of social media.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. I did enjoy that part. Yeah,
I went through a whole training in corporate multiple times at different companies called social selling. It's like a formal training program. And what you learn there is sort of how to use it in a professional services context, which is what we do. I have products, I have books, but it's, really me as a consultant, right? And that's professional services. It doesn't translate to large conversions in sales. The time you spend on social media. It's like eminence building. You share your thought capital. You let people know like, hey, I'm teaching a workshop or I got a book out. New episode of the podcast is out. It's like a business card or a landing page of a website. And what has shocked me is how many people I know who are really financially in a dire situation that are spending 6 to 8 hours a day creating social media and then like downloadable course content, but not building a client base. What if you took all that time and you went out in your neighborhood, you asked a local bar, a hairdresser, a bookstore, something, hey, can I do readings here at a really discounted rate and meet people, hand them my business card, maybe give them a promo code to work with me in a more in-depth way. The way you could use that time, it drives me crazy. And they're all waiting to like, they'll say to me, they go, well, one of these days it's going to hit and I'm going to go viral. I'm like, no, that's the lie. Social media platforms make their money selling your data, full stop. That should be a huge red flag because you're the product. So understanding how to manage it, and I'm not saying don't do it, but please don't make it the core of your marketing strategy. It is not a synonym. Social media does not mean marketing. Marketing is a much bigger thing. And when you're getting started, go meet people, like go do stuff, go do readings on Zoom, tell everybody about what you're doing and kind of hit the pavement. Analog methods are really productive. Yeah.
I love that.
Have you
Analog
found that?
methods. Well, yeah, honestly, I'm a 4/6 in human design. And so everything for my business is word of mouth. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. I had this projection, I would say, when someone had told me, they're like, you don't really have that many followers. I'd have like 889 at time of recording
Well, most of the people
on
I know who have
Instagram.
a lot, they have a lot that aren't real.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah, and I
And
write about that in the book too.
yeah, it's like my social media following, respectfully, and I say this with gratitude for what I have in general, and it's taken me a lot to get to this place. It doesn't bring me income. It's my word of mouth. It's
No.
my one-to-one clients. It's how much care and love I give into each session, and really wanting to help
Yeah.
people. And social media doesn't really support me in that way, but it does. It's not my main form of marketing within my business,
Right.
I would say.
And, when I was in corporate, I remember getting frustrated. I was, as you can imagine, I was exactly like this in corporate, by the way. It's actually kind of like a social problem for me, and it'll never change. But
Okay.
I would say to people, like, scheduling meetings with me, sending emails is not work. So creating social media content is not work. You know why? Because it's not revenue generating. It's not billable. It's not client facing. It doesn't pay for itself. Like, work is stuff that makes you money. And that's true, and it's not, because I do a lot of invisible unpaid labor. I'm sure you do too. Podcasts are generally a loss leader. Like, you lose money. They cost money to produce. They do. But, if you can make that like your bullseye on the target and go, the main, piece of pie in my sort of work pie, if you will, is going to be revenue generating, client facing work, you're off to a good start.
Yeah.
And being busy and just like doing busy stuff is not working.
Yeah.
Working is working.
So who did you write this book for? Was it the practitioner, the client, or the skeptic?
All of them. I think clients should read the book, actually. And I know I didn't position it that way, but you got to pick a lane. Otherwise, the subtitle, it's already this long. It would be a whole paragraph, a run on sentence that goes 2 or 3 pages long. I think clients, people who consume this stuff, should know how the sausage gets made. And I think they should know that, so they understand what to look for when they're looking for someone to work with. When they're being sold something, maybe they get a weird feeling. Because I'll tell you, practitioners and consumers both get sold to by the same groups and vendors, and they get sold the same things a lot of the times. And I've interviewed a few people who were coaches in sort of like a multi-level thing, where like there's recruitment and it goes to my upstream, or I don't know how any of that shit works. Because the minute that conversation starts around me, I go, "You're in Herbalife," and I like run away, like
MLM.
a cartoon character. Yeah, MLM. But they don't realize that they got the same way they were getting others, and it takes them a minute. And they go, "Wait a minute, oh, this is what my coach did to me, and I'm doing it to other people, and I didn't think it was wrong when it happened to me at the time, and now I'm seeing it in a different light." And I just think it's, psychics, energy workers were inordinately, as a default setting, open-minded. And that can mean that we're at times maybe too trusting, or we don't want to be negative or confrontational. And, if someone views you asking a straightforward question as being negative, that's a red flag. People can ask me questions all day long. Yeah. I set up coaching consults, mentoring consults for free. And the express design of that call is, ask me about what we do. Ask me about the scope. Ask me about the cost. I will talk to you about everything, how I got there. I don't care. Yeah. It doesn't hurt my feelings for you to ask me a question. That's a weird thing. That's kind of like a form of passive gaslighting. And there's a lot of it. So
is that, of your big 3, just knowing that of your chart, is that your Virgo rising, is your Aquarius, or is that your Cancer sun? Because even though you, it just feels like you have a lot of like warmth and motherly energy, and you really do care about people. You might be the first person who's ever said that. I appreciate that. Thank you for all your Pisces placements. Well, I think I pick up on it because of the Cancer energy. So I'm like, you care, you genuinely do. I really do. I think it might be the Aquarius moon of like, sure, we're all special and we're all deserving of human dignity, but also none of us are that special. Like, none of us should be deified, and nobody should lord over you. Nobody should gatekeep or infantilize you. Like, I'm really big on, if I do nothing else in this work, I want people to be really empowered. And even if they hire somebody to work with, good, but be empowered in that choice. And even if you get a reading, take what works for you and leave the rest. Like this,
building back up of the human dignity of every individual, I think is something that shamanism, spirituality, and the business of who can do on a good day in its best manifestation. And I want those business owners, those practitioners, I want them to take market share from the nonsense, you know?
Yeah, you want people to rise and succeed and actually thrive within their business.
I think it would be good for all of us. I mean, I have to work a lot with clients that have very significant pronounced spiritual trauma and financial trauma too, from practitioners that told them they had a curse that needed to be removed. And that's why IVF wasn't working for them. That's why they weren't getting pregnant, like really dark stuff. And it's tough out there.
Can I ask you, because this is something that I've really noticed, and maybe it's like a reflection of my own shit per past lives, and also making that transition from like, you know, having a really handsome paycheck in corporate into doing this work, but the scarcity thing. the scarcity within like the healer, like just industry and just this work. Can you speak to that? What's your take on it? Because it is a thing.
Well, I have it right now.
Okay.
Full disclosure, but not because my business is struggling. It's because I'm paying lawyers an exorbitant amount of money. And with the hope and the belief and expectation that will more than come back to us because someone did something bad, basically. So I can identify it. I know what it feels like. It can be overwhelming. Now, in terms of the business itself, I have noticed a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about money, charging money, promoting themselves. And they'll say that. They go, you know, money's just really low vibration. I've verbatim heard that from people for the last 16 years. Now, those same people, though, I've noticed do weird, slithery things about money because eventually the pressures and constraints of material reality show up and they have to come up with a plan. And they'll do weird things. Instead of just being straightforward and going, all right, I'm going to put a business plan together. I'm going to do this. It's almost like to them putting a business plan together or figuring out their pricing or saying, I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. You know, the Stuart Smiley thing, like work with me. I can help you. That it grosses them out and it feels dirty and they want to avoid it. By avoiding it, it becomes this self-perpetuating problem. And I'd also say, you know, I have good clients, great clients, wonderful people. But there is an element in the consumer of the business of woo where they don't really want to pay. And some of them will say things. I'm sure you've had one or two of these experiences. I talked to Bobby at Wild Raven Tarot about it last night. He got like a 4 a.m. text message from someone that was like, you gave me a reading a year ago and it wasn't what I expected and I'm not happy about it.
Okay.
Like,
so do you want your money back or what, dude?
It's a year later. I don't even know who you are. And it's 4 a.m. So what have we been up to all night? Glug, 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 glug. You know, I call that Chardonnay o'clock. I've gotten a few of those over the years where it's like 3 a.m. and it's like a Kanye West tweet. And you're like, ugh, what's that? You wake up to it. That doesn't help. I think sometimes people think that we live an easy life. We make a ton of money. This is a cool, fun way to spend your day or your work week. And it is a grind. Actually.
It is.
And so some of those moments or comments, if you're tired, you're overworked, or you're in your feelings, they can get you for a couple days. And you just have to pivot out of that negativity bias that we all have and go, yeah, but look at what I have over here. And I would say, don't give up too. And also like, don't quit your day job yet. I found out there's all these coaches telling people like the universe isn't going to support you if you don't just suddenly abruptly like leave what you're doing without a plan. And I'm like, no. You know, build your business, the bug out bag, the side hustle as much as you can. You know, get a paycheck. This is a very, very difficult economy. It's another thing. People are like lying about that. There's no liquidity in the consumer market. Everybody's laying everybody off. Nobody has a job. People who have a job are getting new ones, especially in the tech and marketing world. Like every 6 months, they have to go back out to market and get a new job. There's no security. The churn is nuts. So like, take care of yourself, go slow. And, you know, I transitioned over to this full time, number one, at the start of COVID, because spiritually I felt like that was the time, but I'd also built a client base and a reputation. And I was ready to go. I had enough people where I didn't have to get the same person in every week too. That's the other problem with that is, you know, if you've only got 5 clients, boy, do you need those clients to come back all the time, which means you're not focused on healing and empowering them.
I mean, You're definitely an OG in this space. I mean, for as long as you've been doing it, like you have the experience, and again, like you can see that in the book and the quality of the material that you've put into it. And so I think my question is, if someone were to read your book and take away maybe just even one lesson or a lesson,
Yeah.
like what would you hope that that would be?
It's the practitioner archetype
Okay.
section at the beginning. The self-assessment, what are my clairs, i.e. my psychic abilities for real, right?
Yeah.
Like not judging them. Like I want to be an empath. Empaths are good people. One of my most dominant abilities is clairsalience. It's smelling. I smell spirits. I smell fairies. Like
That's so cool.
it's not that sexy. I'll be like, what smells like rotten broccoli? Like it's a whole thing.
Oh my
And
God.
it's neither good nor bad. It just is. So there's that, your dominant chakras, and not in terms, we all use all of our chakras. I use a lot of third eye in the work I do, but energetically, my tendencies, my posture in behaviors, like business behaviors and others, is very sacral chakra. And understanding I am not, because of that, necessarily a group person. I'm always in time scarcity, which I'm working on. I am a nightmare. Like if I'm behind you at Starbucks and you didn't get your wallet out and we've been in line for 10 minutes, you are I'm going to stare daggers in the back of your head. Do I have anywhere to be after that? No. It's just time scarcity. And it's because second chakra, sacral chakra dominant practitioners like me use time to make stuff and do stuff. Like that's kind of why we're here. And also work-life balance, depending on your clairs and your dominant chakras, it's going to look different for you. Self-care is going to look different for you from other people. So whether you're a practitioner, you're a person, it doesn't matter. I think that section gives you an idea of rough order of magnitude, like in my friends they went live on Substack last night dressed up like wizards. I'll send it to you, Gabrielle. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And they are running people through the self-assessment. And they called it the sorting hat from Harry Potter. Like, are you Slytherin? Are you Gryffindor? Are you Hufflepuff? Or Ravenclaw? And, it's funny, but it's funny because it's true. I think that's sort of what the book does. We don't have cute names for it like that, but just radical self-awareness and understanding who you are outside of attachment, like emotional or psychological attachment to things. Like, no, I'm a healer. And it's like, maybe not. Maybe you're an animal communicator. And that's not less than a healer. Mm-hmm. But stop fighting your own nature because you have an idea of who you think you want or need to be. Mm-hmm. Or what's even marketable, because you can innovate. If you have a thing that nobody else has and you're like, I don't even know. What that means is you might have an innovation waiting to be born. And that's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I could talk to you all day. I
could talk to you all day.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I'm learning so much from you. I enjoy your energy so much. And truly, we have a lot of psychics that listen to the show. And if you're listening to this and Rachel's message resonated with you, you guys pick up her book. It is so well done. It's one of those books that I need to go back and reread as I'm in like another season of my business changing. And I truly believe that it is very helpful for anyone who is in a spiritual business.
Well, thank you. And also, I would just say, if you take nothing else from it, I think I put this in the beginning, do things your way. There is no one way to do the business of woo. You don't have to listen to all these external voices, not even mine. If you hear me and you're like, I don't like it, it's not for me, great. Mm-hmm. You're off to a great start. I think people feel, have you ever noticed this? I get this way every once in a while, but we beat ourselves up like, why don't I do this? Why aren't I more like this? Why don't I have more online classes? Why aren't I doing this? That seems like a thing that works. Yeah. There's just all these things and stuff. And it's like, just turn that off. Yeah. And go, what do I want to do? And just start doing it. It's probably as the crow flies, the easiest goddamn way to get there anyway. Right?
Yeah. And you're probably leaning into your authenticity and your truth anyway. You're not supposed to be doing it the way other people are doing it. I mean, everyone's kind of doing it the same way, at least from what I see. So I completely agree with that. Rachel, where can people find you? In our show notes, guys, we do have a discount code for your products, for your essences. Let the people know where they can find you on all the platforms, because your Substack, also phenomenal.
Thank you. I've been writing a lot about this book and things like that there, but I'm going to get back to the woo soon, because that's what makes me happy, is writing about weird shit that I experienced. So the book is on Amazon, The Business of Woo. My name is Rachel White. Go on their Kindle and hardcover format. My website is totemreadings.com. I did a clothing line with my good friend and former client. She did the coaching program, Amy. She owns a company called Puck HCKY, and we made a clothing line based on my sold out tarot deck art.
Mm-hmm.
And we're coming out with a spring collection with the court cards and their hand dipped tie dye. So that
How
code
cool.
is for any of the existing stuff from the fall, winter, but also the new spring, summer, which is coming out, I think, in about a week. So by mid-May, it'll for sure be up. And her son is going to be hand tie dyeing things. So there'll be one of 10 or one of 20, and they'll all be different. And, that's been a fun creative project. I have an Etsy shop where I sell my flower essence deck, my flower essences, which I grow and make because apparently I can't relax. It like when I hear what I do, I'm like, oh my God, I made it all so goddamn hard. It's so stupid.
Is she a
and
nanny
it's Totem
Jen?
Readings ATX. Yeah. On Etsy. And that link, you go to my website, I'll link to it, Instagram, all that good stuff. I'm passive aggressive about Instagram, as the book will reveal.
Mm-hmm.
I much prefer Substack. Substack's like where introverted nerds like me come out to play. We feel safe there.
Well, guys, please check it out. Take advantage of the code. Her Etsy shop, just everything she's putting out there. I was like, it just is so cool. And even the vibe too, like how you describe in the book, how you came up with your branding and it having that shamanic feel to it. Like you can sense that. And it's just, yeah, I really like your aesthetic. So come back anytime. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Until the next one, guys. Bye.